welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Morgan and Kathy Wooten Gymnasium for DeMatha basketball, finally back in action after a long break. I'm Cory Puffett, joined today by class of '09 graduate and the voice of DeMatha football for the past 2 seasons, Eric Meyer. How are you doing, Eric?
I'm doing great. It's been a while since I've called a basketball game. 2 years ago, I believe, it was against the Heights. So it's been a little while. We'll see how this goes. Can't wait to get started here and see what happens here with the big WCAC matchup coming in with DeMatha and St. John's.
Should be a much more competitive game today than that was a couple of years ago. DeMatha coming in 16-5, 5-1 in conference. St. John's 17-5. I made an error on that the splash graphic, but 17-5, 5-1 in conference play for St. John's. Actually, I think St. John's is 6-1, so I don't know what I was doing with that graphic. In any case, DeMatha has not been in action for 10 days. It's been a week and a half. The last time that DeMatha was playing, you were watching us here on DM Stags TV call a wild game against Bishop Ireton, where DeMatha took a big lead, had it whittled down to like 3 points, and then built it back up to a 18-point victory. St. John's had a bit of a layoff, but they got back in action yesterday with a overtime loss, 75-71, against St. Francis Academy from Baltimore, Maryland. So this should be an interesting one. St. John's got a chance to knock off some of that rust. DeMatha is going to have to do that very early in this game if they want to be able to compete with a St. John's team that is rolling this season. So we're going to take a quick break, throw it down sideline to Jared at the PA booth, and we'll be back with you momentarily.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mike K. Jones Court in the Morgan and Kathy Wooten Gymnasium at the Seal Lieutenant Brendan Looney Convocation Center for today's Washington Catholic Athletic Conference matchup between the visiting St. John's College High School Cadets and the 2025-2026 DeMatha Stags. At this time, we ask that you please rise, if able, and remove all headgear for the prayer to be delivered by Father Damien.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Spirit, strong and faithful God, as we come together for this athletic event, we ask you to bless these athletes, keep them safe from injury and harm, instill in them respect for each other, and reward them for their perseverance. Bless all who have gathered for this game this Sunday afternoon. Inspire all to have a true spirit of sportsmanship and a value for others, and all of us, may we have a Christ-like attitude. Also, let us remember those men and women in uniform of our nation who daily protect us from terrorism and harm within our own country, and who keep safe the victims of international war and violence. We pray that the Lord will guard them in the palm of his hand and return them safely to their families and homes. Lead us all to the words of your kingdom, where you live and reign forever and ever. Amen. St. John DeMatha, pray for us. In the name of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please remain standing and direct your attention to the American flag at the St. John's end zone for the playing of our national anthem, as recorded by the Voices of DeMatha.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the starting lineups for today's game. First for the visiting St. John's Cadets. A sophomore guard, number 5, Kareem Smith-Bay. A junior guard, number 11, Jaimin Feeney. A junior forward, number 21, Jordan Taylor. A senior guard, number 1, Jeremy Clark. And a senior guard, number 12, Zion Chase. The assistant for the Cadets is James Vetter. The head coach of the St. John's Cadets is Patrick O'Connor.
It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
PG County, it's time to get on your feet to stand and greet the starting 5 for the DeMatha Stags. A 6'9" junior forward, number 5, Jared Jeffers. A 6'2" junior guard, number 12, Donovan Wright. A 6'6" junior forward, number 32, Danny Abbas. A 6'4" senior guard, number 4, Jaden Schultz. And a 6'1" senior guard, number 3, Ace Meeks. The assistants for DeMatha are Wade Summa, Jeff Eaton, Travis Bergdolf, and Isaac McNeil. The head coach of the DeMatha Stags is Mike Jones.
So we are all set here now for the tip-off of this big WCAC matchup between the Stags and St. John's. It is DeMatha's 7th WCAC matchup of the season, number 8 on the year for St. John's, and we are just about ready to go. Now, first game of the season here with us on DM Stags TV for basketball. What are you most excited to see on the floor today?
I mean, I can't say anybody other than Ace Meeks. He's the most highly touted player in terms of recruiting, and he's obviously had a fantastic career at DeMatha. I expect to see him lead Stags hopefully to a victory today, but we'll see. St. John's is no joke.
Celebrated 1,500 points for him just a couple of weeks ago here on DM Stags TV as St. John's wins the opening tip. And this is Jeremy Clark. Passes it off to Jamin Feeney, who gets it back to Clark. Outside, they're going to work it around the perimeter. Feeney, once again, he's looking to get it inside, but DeMatha has it blocked down. Clark is going to step back, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Clark goes up with it, and he's going to be charged with an offensive foul. Nice job there by Ace Meeks.
That was an incredible possession by Meeks all around. He got a mismatch on the block, but he refused to allow the entry pass, and then he came over and took the charge on that right at the end of the shot clock.
Here is Ace. He's going to give it off to Schultz. Jaden Schultz tries to get it inside. Danny Abbas couldn't get it. It was tipped by Jordan Taylor. They're going to pass it ahead, working it inside. And there's Donovan Wright with the defense, but he got his hand on Kareem Smith-Bay, who is going to go to the line for 2.
A little bit of a forced pass into a double team on Abbas leads to the fast break opportunity there. Good foul there to prevent the easy layup, but 2 free throws coming up.
So Smith-Bay looking to get the scoring started here this afternoon for St. John's, and the first free throw no good off the front of the rim. Second free throw is good. 1-0 St. John's. And DeMatha quickly pushing the ball up the floor. Schultz gives it off to Abbas, who's going to pop a fadeaway, no good from the free throw line. Rebounded by Jordan Taylor. Now working inside, there's Jeffers. He got 2 blocks there, I think. Danny Abbas came with the rebound. And now the corner 3 for Donovan Wright.
So that was a great defense to offense sequence there. DeMatha using their size to protect the paint. Creates a transition opportunity off of the multiple blocks by Jeffers. Great defense to offense action there for the Stags.
Pass here, Clark going to back it out again for St. John's.
A little bit of a missed opportunity. He had a man wide open in the corner.
Kareem Smith-Bay gives it off to Taylor. Back to Smith-Bay, trying to drive on Jeffers. Taylor going to pop the 3. No good. Rebound to Meeks. Ace trying to put it up to Jeffers. A nice pass by Meeks, but then a really good block by Kareem Smith-Bay from behind Jared Jeffers. And they're going to call that out of bounds on the Stags. Cadet ball. 3-1 Stags.
Both teams showing a lot of great recovery skills here. There's not a whole lot of opportunities in the paint. Even in transition, teams are getting back and preventing those easy layups.
Pass ahead, Smith-Bay going to pop the 3. That's in and out and back in.
A lot of early offense here. High-paced game so far.
He's got all 4 cadet points here in the first quarter. Meeks looking for something. Tight defense by St. John's. Meeks has to bail out and get it to Wright. He's able to recover the ball and give it back to Meeks. 10 on the shot clock. Meeks for 3. No good. Oh, Danny Abbas rushed the layback in and missed it off the front of the rim. On the other end, that's blown by Vini. And it's going to stay with St. John's.
Yeah, I think you're seeing the size of both teams sort of setting the tone, a little bit of panic under the basket, shooting these shots way too quickly because of fear of a rejection. But that's sort of what great defense will do. It'll create a little bit of frantic offense, and that's kind of what we've seen so far.
Meeks with the rare block there on Clark, but St. John's able to get the ball back. And now Taylor, good defense by Jeffers to prevent that lay-in, and DeMatha has the ball back.
Jeffers is having a heck of a game so far, just blocking shots the first 3 minutes of this game.
Wright takes the pass from Meeks, gives it off to Abbas. Back to Meeks, a little slip, able to maintain possession. Abbas, nice turnaround and a good lay-in.
A very strong take there. Was under control that time. The last time he had position on that rebound, kind of quickly shot it. This time knew he had position, knew he had the post move, and got to his spot and made the layup.
Clark thought about it, pulled it back down with Schultz closing.
And once again, Meeks fronting really well.
10 on the shot clock, nice fake out, got Jeffers to leave his feet. And now, passed up the open 3, less than 5 on the shot clock. Clark in and out. Danny Abbas fighting for the rebound, and they're going to call it out on St. John's. Stags ball.
Yes, the definition of great defense isn't always playing perfect. It's about how you recover from certain mistakes. Jeffers getting up in the air created an advantage for St. John's, but DeMatha closed very quickly and didn't give up a good look on that play.
Already halfway through this first quarter, just a 5-4 game. Low scoring, tight defense being played by both teams. Nice spin around by Meeks. That's blocked from behind. Another one by Smith-Bay. And then that's going to go out of bounds, but it'll stay with St. John's.
It's a good deflection by Abbas to prevent early offense there for St. John's. They were in transition. Sort of slows them down at the very least. But Meeks showing great handle, but again, St. John's interior defense is tough. It's not going to be easy for him just to get to the hoop and have layups. So DeMatha's going to have to figure out a way to get some open looks for other people.
Jeremy Clark, defended by Wright.
DeMatha's playing a little bit of a zone defense here now.
From the corner, getting it inside. Double team, and it's just thrown up by Zion Chase, but he's going to draw the foul. I believe that was Jeffers.
Yeah, Jeffers had good position on it, but, basketball's a tough sport. When you're in that close, sometimes you make contact with a hand or an arm instead of the ball, and as a result, 2 free throws coming up for Zion Chase.
And first free throw is good as we're going to get our first subs of the game. We've got Jordan Stevens entering for the Stags. And on the St. John's side, we've got Tariq Boney and KJ Little. Second free throw is good. A perfect 2 for 2 for Zion Chase there. And it is a 6-5 Cadet lead with under 3:30 to go in the first quarter. Meeks gives it off to Stevens, throws it back across court, a little high, but Meeks able to pull it down. In some trouble. He's going to put it across. Jeffers, tall enough to get there. Gives it off to Wright. He already hit 1-3. This one off the front of the rim, no good. Rebounded to Chase, who's going to give it up. Working it around the perimeter. St. John's trying to get an open look. Good defense. But inside, that is Tariq Boney, who's able to get it to fall. Checks into the game, immediately 2 points, extending the lead to 3. Meeks going to try to erase it, and he does.
Always good to have that in the back pocket. St. John's had a couple of good offensive possessions there, but Meeks just pulls a deep 3. Suddenly we've got a tie game.
Meeks defending that pass to KJ Little. Little able to get it. And now we're going to get an open 3 on the other end. St. John's no good. A little strong by Smith Bay. And Wright able to come down with that rebound. And now he's running up. Gives it to Stevens. Nice move by Stevens to avoid the charge, but he couldn't finish at the rim. And it's going back the other way. St. John's ball. Zion Chase cross-court pass. Almost thrown away there, but Vini able to recover it. And they'll slow it down. 15 seconds on the shot clock here. Vini driving in on Jeffers. Gives it up along the baseline. No good. Jeffers couldn't rebound it. St. John's got it, and it's going to stay with the Cadets out of bounds. Danny Abbas checks back into the game for the Stags along with Jalen Ortiz. St. John's is going to bring Jordan Taylor and Jeremy Clark back onto the floor. They'll give a couple of their other starters a rest.
It's been a frantic 6 minutes here. Not a whole lot of time to breathe. So
despite the low score, just 8 points apiece, but these two teams have definitely been playing at a pace. Clark gives this one up. We're under 10 seconds. Now down to 5 on the shot clock. Vini's got to do something. He's going to pop the 3 a little strong. And then trying to go up for the rebound. Schultz was boxing out. I think that was Little. No, that was Boney who was going up for it. And they called Schultz for the foul on the box out attempt. That's his first personal, and it'll be St. John's ball on the baseline.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for DeMatha. They played excellent defense, but couldn't quite secure the rebound. St. John's retains possession.
Jaden Smothers checked in for the Stags on that break, but in the meantime, that's KJ Little for 3 in the corner.
It was a really good set play. Pinned down, created the open corner 3, and knocked it down.
Meeks calling for a screen from Stevens. Quick switch by St. John's. See how Meeks likes this matchup with Tariq Boney. Gives it off to Ortiz. And Jalen Ortiz loses the dribble out of bounds.
Yeah, again, St. John's point of attack defense has been on point. They're happy to switch on those pick and rolls even against Ace Meeks. And then we saw it there, just a little bit too strong, and Ortiz wasn't able to keep his handle.
So here's Jeremy Clark. Takes it across the timeline. Ortiz with the defense. Give back to Boney and back to Clark now. And we're going to get an off-ball foul on St. John's. It was Boney after that pass.
Yeah, Boney didn't quite get set setting that screen. Sort of shouldered it instead of squaring up. Easy call for the refs to make.
So 3 team fouls against the Stags. That's the second against St. John's now. Nobody on either team with more than 1 personal thus far. We are down to 45 seconds left in the first quarter. DeMatha would love to tie it up here. Meeks for 3. That one a little short. Good rebound by Smothers. Meeks didn't handle the pass cleanly, but DeMatha still has the ball. Getting it to Danny Abbas. Tried to put it up off the glass. No good. Tariq Boney with the defense. And now a chance to extend the lead. St. John's. No good by Boney, but the long rebound secured by St. John's. Again, a second offensive rebound by Smith Bay on that possession. But then he's going to be charged for the offensive foul.
It was a nice job by Jordan Stevens to stand in there. A little bit out of control. I thought that the ball handler had a chance to sort of get to the basket there without having to lower his shoulder and initiate contact. So a bit of a break for DeMatha after they struggled to pick up a rebound there.
And with no shot clock, DeMatha can take the last shot. Let's see what they can get. Meeks has been on the floor this entire first quarter, but you know they would love to get him that shot. Wow, an impressive move at the basket to get that in off the rim, or off the glass. And that is going to do it for the first quarter, as the clock did not stop after the made basket, and St. John's took too long to get it inbounds.
A strong finish there by Ace to get that bucket. He was looking for a foul. He wanted the and one call, but nevertheless, great job to get that finish. He's had a little bit of a tough time at the rim just because of St. John's defense. That time he got the better of him, and Stags go into the second quarter only down 1 point. The refs are conferencing now. It could just be a post-quarter discussion, but there was a little bit of consternation from some of the players on both teams with some of those calls, so we'll see if that has an effect later in the game or if it's just a blip.
Overall, a pretty clean first quarter. Just 3 fouls called against each team. Nobody with more than one personal, as you mentioned. We'll let you know that we've got all these reschedules from the snow days over the past week. The first of those reschedules is going to be this Tuesday evening. The game that was supposed to be held against PVI, I believe that was last Sunday during the NFL Conference Championships. I will say I appreciated the snow for letting me watch both of those games from start to finish. But those games have been rescheduled for this Tuesday. DeMatha versus PVI, 4 p.m. tip-off for freshmen, 5:45 p.m. for the JV game, and then it would be Neal Murphy and myself calling the 7:30 tip-off of the varsity game against Paul VI. That should be a really big one. You don't want to miss it here on DM Stags TV. We are ready for second quarter action. DeMatha running out most of their starting lineup, with one exception being Major Jones now on the floor for the Stags in place of Donovan Wright. Meeks with the ball here. He's going to give it off to Schultz, working into Danny Abbas. Good defense prevents him from getting any sort of penetration, but then Major Jones on the other end. The three no good. Abbas able to secure the rebound, and we'll see which player that foul is called on. I think it's going to be on 12. And yes, it is. It was either 12 or 21, and it is Zion Chase with now his first personal foul of the day, and Danny Abbas will shoot 2 free throws.
Abbas is showing a lot of awareness and a lot of skill in the paint. He's received a couple of entry passes. He's made some excellent kickouts to create opportunities. He's been pretty effective on the offensive glass. Glad to see he's earned a trip to the free throw line here because he was working hard.
Danny Abbas, he's struggled a little bit at the free throw line this season. He did make the first one, but misses the second one on that trip. And now on the other end, St. John's for 3. That is Kareem Smith-Bay, his second three-pointer of the day.
And DeMatha's got to be a little bit more aware. St. John's is not messing around on these made baskets or on missed free throws. They are getting out and running and attacking.
On the other end, Danny Abbas, that one way short, barely hit off the backboard, but below the rim. And that one thrown away along the baseline. Meeks going to try to take it all the way. And too soft of the touch at the rim. No good. And now St. John's on the other end. That's stripped away. And they're going to get Danny Abbas for his first personal.
Yeah, I think DeMatha might need a timeout here. They're playing a little bit erratically right now.
Both teams kind of are, to be fair.
Yeah, St. John's seems a little bit more by design, whereas DeMatha is kind of reacting to the chaos, and it's not necessarily bearing fruit for them.
So John Manvini at the line. He makes the first free throw as DeMatha brings Jordan Stevens back onto the floor to give Danny Abbas a rest. Second free throw for Vini. No good. Rebounded by Jeffers, who's going to give it off to Meeks. Putting it ahead to Stevens. Nice catch. He had to stop short, but was able to secure the ball. And DeMatha's going to slow it down here. Meeks to Jones. Jones around to Schultz for 3. He had to he didn't really follow through on that. Actually wound up putting a little too much juice on the shot.
That was great defense by Smith-Bay, getting around all of those screens to sort of disrupt that shot attempt by Schultz, which is why he had to rush it.
And then on the other end, Smith Bay, I mean, he's killing it right now. He's got 9 points now, and DeMatha takes their first time out.
Yeah, a lot of standout plays from St. John's. Tariq Boney gave them great minutes in the first quarter coming off the bench, and now Smith Bay's really gotten going for them. And he's a big part of the reason why St. John's has put their foot on the gas and built a little bit of a lead here in the second quarter.
Yeah, DeMatha's going to have to get Ace Meeks going here. He had 5 points in the first quarter, nothing so far in the second. A little less than 2 minutes in to the second quarter. But just a 30-second timeout here for DeMatha. So referees head in to break up the huddles, and we're going to get back to action. No changes on the court for either team in that timeout. So Schultz gives to Jeffers, trying to get it to Major Jones. He's able to get some separation. Meeks, a little push there by Smith Bay, and he hits the floor. And it is going to be Kareem Smith Bay. He will be the first player in the game to get a second personal.
Yeah, it's strong handling by Meeks there. He got bumped a couple of times. I thought those first couple of bumps were fine, but the ability to stay on his track and be able to round the corner forced Smith Bay to kind of have to give him a little extra to keep him from the basket, and it resulted in a foul.
That pass a little long, had to try to save it in the front court was Jared Jeffers was behind his teammate and got up over Jordan Stevens to block that shot. St. John's retains possession, but what a block.
If there was a such thing as a Moss in basketball, maybe that's it. Like, that was crazy.
On the other end, too strong by Zion Chase. It was rebounded by Jordan Taylor, and then it looks like he stepped on the baseline, so it'll be Stags ball. Donovan Wright checking back into the game. Major Jones giving the Stags solid minutes to start the second quarter.
All right. So I've noticed Meeks has been a little bit more off the ball the last couple of possessions for DeMatha, trying to get him the ball a little bit via movement off the ball.
And they do that. Tough shot there, no good, but Jared Jeffers with the rebound, too strong on the putback. The Stags really struggling to convert near the rim. Those high percentage shots not falling for the Stags. And on the other end, a third three-pointer by Kareem Smith Bay. Yeah, he's over 10 points now.
Yeah, those missed close baskets lead to easy breakout opportunities, and it's a big part of the reason why St. John's is pushing towards a 10-point lead here in the second quarter.
12 points this afternoon for Smith Bay, and it is a 9-point Cadets lead. Meeks just has to flip it up, but that's one thing that Meeks is very talented at.
Very adept finish there. Again, we've seen him do that twice now. And nice to be able to have that in the back pocket, especially when you're a 6'1" guard trying to shoot among the trees. Having that ability to finish high off the glass is a big deal.
Smith Bay gives it up, but he's going to be charged with a charge. His third personal. So just like that, the Cadets' leading scorer, in fact, the game's leading scorer so far today, is in some foul trouble here halfway through the second quarter. He's going to have to take a rest as Tariq Boney and KJ Little check in together once again for St. John's.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to see Smith Bay for the rest of this half. So this might be an opportunity for DeMatha to cut into this lead.
John Manvini looked like he was coming up for that roller, but Meeks picks it up, gives it off to Donovan Wright. Danny Abbas thought about it. Maybe just a pump fake against Boney. Couldn't get him to leave his feet. Gives it up to Jordan Stevens. Jeremy Clark was looking to draw the charge, didn't get the call. And now Danny Abbas with the reverse layup.
Yeah, good no call there by the refs. Clearly a flop attempt there by St. John's. Didn't get rewarded for it, and DeMatha ends up coming away with points after a little bit of a chaotic possession, but he'll take it.
Really good finish there by Danny. DeMatha's not had good luck getting the ball in the rim on those attempts, but that time it fell. Good defense there by Abbas. And now good reception. He goes up with it, brings it back down, but Tariq Boney is going to be called for his second personal now. Yeah. Fourth team foul against St. John's, and Danny Abbas is going to go back to the line.
You're seeing a little bit of the tide turning because, again, DeMatha started making some buckets. They were able to get into their half-court defense. St. John's hasn't had success against that. And then their missed shots have led to some DeMatha breakouts, which has provided them some easy opportunities.
No good on the first free throw for Danny Abbas. He'll shoot another one. Jalen Ortiz onto the floor for the Stags. And Danny 0 for 2 on that trip to the line. Stays a 5-point Cadets lead.
And DeMatha back into a 2-3 zone here.
Clark looking for some help. Good switch by Danny Abbas, and now Donovan Wright playing defense on Little. Clark driving again, try to get across. Nice job by Jared Jeffers to stick his arm out in that passing lane. Abbas was cutting to the rim, but Jordan Taylor was in decent position.
Yeah,
Meeks did not want to.
It would have been a very tough pass to try to get that through.
Yeah. And now Danny Abbas, that one.
I think that should have been called a foul there, Corey, but
I thought there was a little bit of hand on wrist action there, but no call. And on the other end,
Meeks gets blocking call.
Jaimin Vini hit the deck, and it is Ace Meeks. That'll be Ace's first personal foul of the day, second team foul against the Stags this quarter.
Yeah. Meeks wasn't quite set, was trying to slide over. Good call by the officials, and not a particularly harmful foul with it only being Meeks' first, and DeMatha is not, as a team, is not worried about the penalty right now. But another good inbound play by St. John's. They've had success off of those foul calls. That's the second time they've created an easy look.
Clark's first bucket of the day for St. John's. Keeps it a 7-point lead now for St. John's. Donovan Wright gives it up to Ortiz. Meeks guarded by Little. Meeks trying to cut the lane. Draws a double team, and that's going to be out of bounds, staying with DeMatha. But just 7 seconds on the shot clock, so they got to be aware of that on this inbound play. Jaden Schultz checks back in for Ortiz.
Yeah, St. John's defense is being very aggressive, making sure that Ace Meeks is not the guy that beats them. They're sending double teams. They're confidently switching whenever they try to set pick and roll for him.
Here's Meeks.
DeMatha can adjust.
5 seconds on the shot clock, and the foul called on Jaimin Vini, and that's going to reset the clock to 20 seconds. In fact, that's also putting DeMatha in the bonus, so Meeks is going to shoot a couple of free throws here.
Yeah, St. John's not happy with the call. They felt like it's a little bit of a bailout. I didn't see a whole lot. Meeks has been dribbling a little bit erratically this quarter, but the refs seemed to deem that there was unnecessary contact, and Meeks is going to the free throw line.
First free throw, no good, and you know St. John's is out here saying ball don't lie.
Well, they might not be wrong on this one, but nevertheless, we hope Meeks can knock down the second one.
And he does.
It's a bit of a half-truth instead. I'll go with that.
So Jeremy Clark eases the ball up court. That one poked away by Donovan Wright. Clark did not get a hand on it according to the officials, so it'll stay with St. John's in their front court. 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, Jeffers is doing a good job communicating as the back line of this zone defense here.
Clark for three. Meeks was there to contest it, but Clark has 5 points now in the second quarter.
Yeah, Clark has proven to be a very effective outside shooter.
Meeks responds. Meeks up to 11 points now on the day, 6 points in this second quarter. 1:40 to play in the half. It's a 6-point St. John's lead. DeMatha trying to keep it close. Cut into it before halftime. That pass underneath. The defense by Abbas, and that is going to be Stags ball.
Yep, that's the right call. Again, good defense. Once again, whenever the DeMatha mans up, it feels like Meeks inevitably ends up switched on a forward, but he's done such a good job of not giving away easy entry passes so they have to go to the other side of the post, and Abbas has been there to man everybody up the entire time. They've been excellent on that end of the floor.
Stags need some more points here. Meeks driving in along the baseline, puts it around the defender to Schultz, who gives it back to Meeks. He wasn't quite ready for it, and then a terrible angle for that shot.
Yeah, panic sort of set in on that possession.
Now on the other end, an offensive foul called against Zion Chase as he tried to dish it off to Jordan Taylor.
Man, I'll take the call, but that was as physical as they've allowed them to play today. That one was sort of the opposite. It was minimal contact and definitely a sell job by the Stags, but hey, I'll take it.
So that is going to be Chase's second. Well, they put it up there against Jordan Taylor. I don't think that is correct. I'm pretty sure Zion Chase just drew his second personal foul. Major Jones in the game. We are under a minute to play in the first half. Stags down 6. Meeks was trying to get it to Abbas, but he was on the floor. And after a blown layup, Jaimin Vinny gets his own rebound and puts it back in.
Yeah, even with Abbas falling, that sequence was not going to go well for the Stags. That was sort of a busted play.
8 seconds separate the shot clock and game clock, so really the best the Stags can do is run it down and hope that St. John's can't get anything with the few seconds they'll have left after this possession. We're down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Meeks keeping the ball, no rush, gives it off to Abbas. The switch defense, and Abbas gets to the rim, puts it in for 2, under 10 seconds here. St. John's puts it up a little early, no good on the putback, and then Major Jones just flings it down court. That's not going to fall, but it's a 6-point St. John's lead heading into halftime, 27-21. DeMatha's gotten a couple of St. John's players into a bit of foul trouble, including the game's high scorer, Kareem Smith-Bay, who had to sit for the last 5 minutes or so of that second quarter. Any thoughts before we get to halftime, Eric?
DeMatha's defense, again, excellent. Jeffers has done a wonderful job underneath the basket. But, again, got to finish at the rim. Those are leading to St. John's transition opportunities. Got to nip that in the bud if they want to get back in this game.
All right, we will be back in a little less than 10 minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere.
The sun never sets at DeMatha Catholic High School. DeMatha graduates serve with distinction in every area of life and on every continent. Wherever you may travel on this planet, if you are wearing DeMatha apparel, you will be asked if you're from that famed high school in Maryland. The 6 pillars of DeMatha are faith, community, service, academics, arts, and athletics. The school is one of the most diverse in the country, and its 10,000 graduates have gone on to excel in a wide array of disciplines. DeMatha students know how to cooperate and compete in an ever-changing world. Its graduates are not just prepared for college, but for life, with an education both timely and timeless. There is no other place like it. I should know. I'm James Brown, class of 1969, 1 DeMatha.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DM Stags TV for DeMatha Basketball. I'm Cory Puffett, joined by Eric Meyer. We got,
Jordan Gill.
Jordan Gill.
Cory.
I remember Jordan. I'm like forgetting the last name. Got Jordan Stevens on the mind from that first half. But Jordan Gill over here, our producer for the game. It's a skeleton crew out here, so you've seen all the switching. Jordan is handling the cameras, and he's handling the scoreboard. So thank you to Jordan for getting all that done today so that Eric and I can focus on the game. And it's been a defensive battle so far. 27-21 the score. DeMatha's offense has struggled a little bit, but a lot of that has also been shots just not falling close to the rim. But both teams have played excellent defense thus far. A little bit of foul trouble for St. John's, particularly the game's leading scorer, Kareem Smith-Bay, who has 12 points on the day. He's got 3 personal fouls, so he's got to be careful here in the second half. On the DeMatha side, it's been Ace Meeks leading the offense with 11 points, but only 3 players have scored for the Stags so far today. So they're going to have to get some guys to help out. Jaden Schultz has not scored yet in the game. We also have not been able to get Jared Jeffers to score. He's usually a big threat near the rim, especially on lob passes, but St. John's been shutting that down.
Yeah, again, DeMatha's bigs have had some chances in close, but again, a lot of pressure from St. John's defense has made it a little bit tough. So I think they just need to sort of realize that sometimes it's easy to forget, like you get swatted a couple of times. You're still going to be in positions of advantage. You just need to go up and finish. And I think that if DeMatha gets back to fundamentals there, they're going to be doing just fine in this half. But again, St. John's, very, very good team. No shame in being down 6 to them. We'll see if DeMatha can fight back and get this win.
And so St. John's has the ball to start the second half. And we're going to get a quick 3 by Kareem Smith-Bay back off the bench. No good there. DeMatha with the rebound. Here's Ace Meeks.
Stags started off with a little bit of pressure on that first possession. Kind of created a little bit of an opportunity for St. John's, but Smith-Bay was unable to knock it down. So DeMatha now has the rock.
Meeks pulls up for the long 2, no good. And that was Danny Abbas coming in, and he's going to be called for the foul. A little too aggressive, crashing the boards.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Came in a little bit too hot. A loose ball foul on the rebound attempt. So
first team foul of the third quarter, second personal against Danny here today. Here's Jaimin Vini. Donovan Wright on defense. They'll give it off to Smith-Bay, right back to Vini. Clark in the corner waiting for it. A little bit too late. And Schultz was right there ready for the defense. Clark crossover back to the middle of the floor, no good. Rebound to St. John's, and going up strong with it is Jordan Taylor. So Jordan Taylor will start off the scoring here in the third quarter, extending St. John's lead out to 8 points. That is the largest lead of the afternoon. Here's Danny Abbas. Defense by Chase. Abbas holding on to it. He gives it off to Jeffers, and Jeffers knocks it down, his first points of the afternoon.
Yeah, St. John's employing a little bit of a zone defense there. Created an open opportunity for Jeffers at the top of the key. He was able to knock it down. DeMatha's going to have to be careful on offense, though. St. John's is starting to send some almost robber baron type of attacks at their ball handlers to see if they can get a strip. That time they were able to thwart it and get a bucket.
Clark and Wright diving to the floor, and a timeout called by St. John's before Wright could force a tie-up.
Yeah, really good hands by Wright there to sort of knock the ball loose and create that chaotic situation. St. John's is forced to call a timeout, otherwise it would have been a jump ball, and that would have given DeMatha the basketball.
This will just be a 30-second timeout here. So Ace Meeks, 11 points in that first half. Danny Abbas had 7. Donovan Wright had 3. On the St. John's side, it was Kareem Smith-Bay leading the way with 12, and then Jeremy Clark was the second highest score with 5 points. But 6 different players scored for St. John's versus just 3 for DeMatha in that first half.
Yeah, I think that's the difference in the game. We've seen Ace Meeks show off some scoring ability, hitting some long threes, some acrobatic layups, but St. John's isn't letting him get easy looks, which means he's not able to create for teammates when he pulls the defense in. they've been doing a good job limiting him with just one-on-one coverage.
So Vini gives this one up to Clark, who drives all the way to the bucket and is able to get it to fall.
Yeah, Jeffers tried to get over to protect the rim there, but just a little bit too quick to the hoop, and it's a good layup.
DeMatha trying to get Schultz open.
Very physical defense
Yeah.
there by Jeremy Clark to kind of prevent him from getting an opportunity to come through.
And didn't really look like the best route to get open by Schultz either. On the other side, it's a jump ball as Meeks was trying to hop step into the paint. It's going to stay with DeMatha on the possession.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But the possession arrow will switch.
I'm not sure what Ace's plan was there. The tie-up is almost fortunate because if he had come down, that would have been a travel for sure.
That one's going to bounce around out of bounds, staying with the Stags. Just 7 seconds on the shot clock. They were trying to get that, I believe, to Jeffers in the paint, but it was a 3-on-1 situation on the defense. Danny Abbas gets it. He's going to do a little fadeaway. No good. Schultz tried to tip it in.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this call is here. It looks like it's against St. John's.
Yeah, and they're going to call it a shooting foul as Schultz was going in to try to tip it up. So that's going to be a foul against Jeremy Clark, his second personal, and Schultz is going to shoot 2. First free throw is good for Jaden Schultz, his first point of the day. And Schultz can't double up. Lead stays 7 for St. John's.
And DeMatha's left some points on the free throw line.
Donovan Wright trying to save that one, keep it in bounds, but can't do so. It'll be St. John's ball after a little wacky loose ball situation there.
Yeah, DeMatha's definitely ratcheted up the pressure in the half court, trying to get some steals.
Smith Bay dumps this one into Chase, who puts it over the top to Jordan Taylor, and he's able to get it to fall over Danny Abbas.
And that's just a really impressive sequence, a great entry pass, not much of a window to get it to Taylor, and then Taylor's been strong finishing with defenders near him the entire game.
Yep, Taylor 4 points now here in the third quarter. Abbas pretty far from the basket, gives it off to Schultz. Little shimmy, gives it off to Wright. Donovan Wright was the first to score for DeMatha. He had a 3 back in the first quarter, hasn't scored since, but right there he gives it off to Danny Abbas, who puts it in. Danny's up to 9 points now today.
DeMatha's big men have shown pretty capable of knocking down mid-range jump shots. It's been probably their best source of offense, certainly in this quarter. That's a travel.
And Vini left his feet. He got the defender to leave his feet, but he also left his feet, came back down with it.
Usually when you leave your feet, your defender's going to too, and that's why you're not allowed to do that.
So turnover there. A little moisture on the ball. Officials able to handle that, and Danny inbounds to Major Jones, who's in the game along with Jordan Stevens for the Stags. A little crisscross there on the outside. Stevens driving in. That one's blocked, but not before he is fouled by Jeremy Clark.
Stags creating a little bit more motion on that play, sort of create an opportunity. Stevens was able to get the ball with an opportunity to drive to the basket, picked up a foul. Hopefully he can knock down 2 free throws here because DeMatha's going to need him if they want to get back in the game.
First free throw in and out. That was Jeremy Clark's third personal, so now a couple of players for St. John's. In fact, they're 2 leading scorers, both with 3 personal fouls. Stevens 1 for 2 on that trip. Stags down by 6. Same deficit as they had entering the second half. 3 fading to the side, taken down by Jordan Stevens, and it's going to be out of bounds on him. It'll stay with the Cadets
Yeah, it's unfortunate because Stevens had position. He had the rebound clean, but just it's been a little bit of a wackadoodle game so far. Seems like holding on to the ball is a little bit tough.
Came down awkwardly, hit the ground.
Yeah, ball kind of bounced off his own knee as he hit the ground. Just an unfortunate bounce.
So this inbound deep into the backcourt for Tariq Boney. Quickly work it back to the front court. Here's Clark giving it off to Zion Chase. And Chase high off the backboard and in.
High school level, that probably gets called a travel, but otherwise I consider that a good move. That was a nice, strong finish there. A little float game from the elbow off the glass. Can't argue with it.
Meeks going to take the three. He got some space, and Meeks makes them pay.
Yeah, that's a shot you want him taking all day. He's open, had space, could set his feet. That's automatic.
Double team here, able to pass out of it. Clark gives it to Boney underneath. The defense by Stevens is good, and it's going to be DeMatha ball.
A strong rebound by Stevens, another foul call. This time on Zion Chase for being a little too aggressive over the back, loose ball foul. So DeMatha has cut this lead to 5 now. They were down 6 at the half, so slowly but surely they're working their way down. If they can stick with their process, I think they're going to have a good chance of getting back, maybe tying this thing up at some point.
So the official call back in the first half was that foul we thought was on Zion Chase actually went to Jordan Taylor. I can't believe it. I did not think Jordan Taylor was receiving a pass on that play, but that is only the second personal on Zion Chase, I believe, unless they've just corrected. Now they've corrected up on the scoreboard, so I'm not sure. They were talking to the PA announcer down there about that. But Meeks, another three-pointer for him, his 4th of the day, and that cuts the St. John's lead down to 2.
That was a heat check 3, and it dropped. That is a type of shot that a lot of coaches would be furious at their point guard for taking, but when Ace Meeks is feeling it, you got to let him cut it loose, and suddenly we got a 2-point game here.
So we're going to get a full 60-second timeout here for St. John's. So we'll take a quick moment to let you all know that the Student Government Association is hosting a raffle fundraiser. The prizes are big. The grand prize includes 4 box tickets to a 2026 Baltimore Ravens game valued at over $4,000. Second prize is 4 box tickets to a 2026 University of Maryland football game valued at approximately $2,500. Tickets are available now. You can get 1 ticket for $10, 5 tickets for $40, or 10 tickets for $70. To purchase a ticket, see any member of the SGA. The drawing will take place on Friday, February 13th, and all proceeds go directly to the SGA supporting student activities here at DeMatha. For somebody out there, it will be a very lucky Friday the 13th. Don't miss your chance to win big while supporting your school. How would you like box seats to a University of Maryland game next year, Eric? You'd rather have the Ravens ones.
Oh, yeah, I would. and again, not because I just love the Baltimore Ravens so much, but Maryland football, it's rough sledding right now. But who knows? We've got a good recruiting class, but we always have good recruiting classes. It doesn't seem to amount to a whole lot of wins. But
hopefully it'll pan out a little bit better next year. Got to get some of that Indiana NIL money.
You got to get that. You got to get Kirk Signetti is what they need. But
St. John's ball here as we come out of that timeout. It's a 2-point Cadets lead, down from as high as 8 earlier this quarter. We're under 3 minutes to play in the third. Cross-court pass, quick 3 taken, no good by KJ Little, and Jordan Stevens secures the rebound. DeMatha with a chance to tie or take the lead on this possession.
Stevens has definitely been an unsung hero here.
Meeks. Guess that timeout may have cooled him down just a little bit. That one in and out. Back to St. John's. Down to 2 minutes on the clock in the third. And we're going to get a whistle. Foul called on Major Jones. His first.
I got Jones reaching in a little bit on that one.
Second team foul for DeMatha here in the third quarter. So they're still in good shape with under 2 to go.
Yeah, it's been notable for this game. DeMatha has avoided fouling at a high clip. It's harmed St. John's. It's gotten some of their key players into foul trouble.
Jeremy Clark, 7 points today, gives it off to Bay, who has 12 but has not scored yet here in the third quarter. Jordan Taylor now with the ball. He draws a little bit of a double team. Major Jones tried to tie him up. Nothing there. And then no good. That's going to be a shot clock violation as John Manvini could not get it to hit the rim. And it'll be Stags ball with 1:36 to go. What were you seeing there, Eric?
That should have been called a jump ball. The ball handler left his feet. Stag got his hands on the ball. He came back down with it. That should have absolutely been called a jump ball. But shot clock violations results in DeMatha gains possession anyway. But it would have been nice to flip that arrow again.
Meeks with the ball. Guarded by Smith Bay. He's going to cross or thread the needle to Jeffers. And Jeffers blows it twice. No good. St. John's has the rebound.
Yeah, I could tell they were trying to set up that slip to Jeffers.
That one's going to be an offensive foul before the block charged against Zion Chase. And okay, so take that one against whatever I said before, take that off. That's now four personal fouls against Zion Chase, and that is also the 4th team foul against St. John's. So one away from putting DeMatha in the bonus here with just over a minute to play in the third quarter. Still a 2-point game.
Yeah, I like the process on the previous possession to try to slip for Jeffers. He just couldn't quite finish.
Major Jones driving in. He's going to draw a foul. Puts DeMatha in the bonus, but it's a shooting foul anyway. So Jones is going to shoot 2, a chance to tie it up. That foul is charged to Jordan Taylor, and I believe that should just be his first personal. It says 2 here in the gym.
Yeah, a lot of frustration on St. John's bench with these calls. But similar frustration for the Stags. Again, struggling to knock down free throws. They've left probably at least 8 points on the court now with missed free throws. And again, St. John's is fouling a lot. This is an opportunity where you can sort of take control of the game if you're able to hit your shots. But
that's been a story. Yeah, it's been a story of the Stags season here. Is struggling at the free throw line. We've really had to get it done with our field goal shooting because our work at the charity stripe has not been very good. We're going to get a foul called here against Major Jones. That'll be his 2nd personal, 3rd team foul against the Stags, and St. John's will have possession on the baseline. 40.5 to play in the quarter, 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, that's probably a good foul by Jones there. He was trying to guard a much bigger player who had him sealed off. Committing that foul kind of prevented an opportunity, but then here's another quick inbounds pass. St. John's has been living off of those.
Nobody was paying attention to Tariq Boney, and that's a situation where you had to be ready for St. John's to try something quick to get the 2-for-1 opportunity here at the end of the quarter. And Ace Meeks forced to foul. That's his 2nd personal, and that's going to send Tariq Boney to the line to shoot 2. Boney good on the first to push the lead back to 3. And we'll get a substitution here. Caden Argueta checking in for the first time today for St. John's, along with KJ Little. And Boney ready for his 2nd attempt. Made the first. Would love to make this a 2-possession game for St. John's. High off the back iron, no good. Stays a 3-point game. Rebound to Jared Jeffers, and Meeks has it. Once again, we're in a situation about 9 seconds separating shot clock and game clock. Meeks driving in, puts it up high on the lob for Jared Jeffers.
And that's what we've been waiting to see. Dribble penetration by Meeks creates an opportunity for somebody else. Great play, great lob, and good finish here.
Shot clock is off. St. John's hoping to push this back out from a 1-point lead at the end of the third quarter. DeMatha has done a great job of whittling that lead down here in the third. Poked away, thrown up, but blocked by Jeffers at the horn, and it will be a 36-35 game when we resume play for the fourth quarter here in just a minute or 2. What a third quarter there for the Stags. Fighting back. Really good stuff.
Absolutely. The physicality that St. John's has brought to this game, it can be a little bit of a double-edged sword, especially when you start to get in foul trouble. And DeMatha was able to take advantage of it using a little bit more of their length and some of their skill set, especially with Ace Meeks getting going there, knocking down a couple of threes, and then finally able to set somebody up. Got to the basket with his left. Fantastic lob pass. Again, they've been trying to get sort of that Meeks-Jeffers two-man game going. We saw it on that previous play. Around the 2-minute mark, they tried to feed him on a slip. He got blocked at the rim and then could not finish on the next dunk attempt. But the process started to improve for DeMatha's offense a lot in that quarter. If they could just, again, we talked about free throws. We talked about finishing at the rim, which I thought was better that quarter. If they can continue that into the fourth, they're going to come away with a win.
Just getting our updated stats here as we get set to resume play. So Kareem Smith-Bay still the leading scorer for St. John's with 12 points, but DeMatha did a great job to hold him scoreless there in the third quarter. Meanwhile, Ace Meeks with a pair of threes, up to 17 points now, the game high, and DeMatha outscored St. John's 14-9 in the third quarter to cut a 6-point halftime deficit down to 1 as we are ready to resume play here for the fourth quarter. St. John's starts the quarter with possession. Here is Jaimin Vini guarded by Jaden Smothers. And the putback there by Jordan Taylor, way up in the air, but he got to fall. He's got 6 points here in the second half.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a problem on the offensive glass. He plays controlled, but he also is able to move people out of the way. DeMatha's going to have to find a solution for him.
Meeks a little trouble collecting that pass, but he does get it.
Meeks missed Stevens on the slip there.
Under 10 to go on the shot clock here, and he's double teamed. Meeks has got to get it out of there. And he throws it up, but we're going to get a timeout first by the Stags. And it's pretty late in the shot clock, so this is going to be very interesting to see what Coach Jones draws up for DeMatha coming out of this timeout. Just 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, again, unfortunately, they opted to double Meeks on the pick and roll, but either didn't see or was unable to get the ball to Stevens, who was open on the block. Would have had an opportunity for probably an enclosed bucket, or at least to create a little bit of player movement and put the Cadets into rotation. But still 3 seconds on the shot clock, still have possession, so we'll see what they're able to pull off out of this timeout.
So just a 30-second timeout here for the Stags. Less than a minute gone in the fourth quarter, and St. John's has pushed their lead back to 3 on a nice offensive rebound and putback by Jordan Taylor on that first St. John's possession. DeMatha in the middle of their first possession of the fourth quarter, but only 3 to go on the shot clock, and they are going to be starting with it pretty far from the basket on the sideline. Donovan Wright heading over to handle inbound duties.
Yeah, I hope they have a lot of out-of-bounds plays because they're going to need a good one here.
Wright trying to get it to Meeks. He does, and Meeks has got to put it up. He does. It's rebounded by Smothers. Jordan Stevens hit him from behind, but DeMatha able to get it back. Pass out of the shot by Meeks, and a 3 for Jared Jeffers.
It's pretty nice when your 6'8" big man can knock down a 3. Big shot, tie ball game for the Stags. Pretty aggressive defense there by Stevens, and the refs let it go. Might be that kind of fourth quarter.
And he's still right on his man there. Smothers puts a hand up, influences the shot, and Stevens has the rebound, gives it up to Meeks. And Meeks just throws it up. He draws the foul, so he will go to the line. This will be his second trip to the line. He went 1 for 2 with last time.
And Meeks being a 6'1" guard, he covers a lot of ground with each stride, though. He got down the court quickly there, got the bump that he needed, put the ball up, going to the line for 2. hopefully he can knock down 2 free throws, and DeMatha will have their first lead in a while in this game.
And a big foul call there, too. A big foul drawn by Meeks because that is the 4th personal against Kareem Smith-Bay. Had 12 points in the first half to help St. John's build up that lead. But he is still in some serious foul trouble, and it does not look like St. John's is making a move to take him out of this game.
Yeah, with 6.5 minutes to go, not a ton of time on the clock. You want to get as much out of him as possible. And if he fouls out, so be it. But taking him out of the game effectively fouls him out anyway.
So just the second 2-for-2 trip to the line by either team today. That one stolen away by Jeffers. Kept his feet in bounds and saved to Smothers.
That was a strange play. DeMatha wanted to travel in the backcourt, didn't get it. And then Jeffers seems a little slow to move now after that. Hopefully he's okay after he made that great play.
Yeah, definitely a little shaken up, but he's moving out there. Comes up to offer a screen to Schultz. Doesn't take it, gives it off to Meeks instead. And now Meeks is going to get a little bump from Abbas. He has to pass it out of that one to Smothers. And too strong there by Smothers, and we got a shot clock violation on the other end. DeMatha with a 2-point lead, but St. John's with the ball.
Yeah, that's just nothing came together on that offensive possession. Just whatever St. John's did blew up any action DeMatha wanted to create. So get him next time, I guess, but it's going to have to be a better process if DeMatha wants to keep putting points on the board.
Clark pass, cross-court pass to Zion Chase. Abbas with the defense. He puts it inside to Taylor. Taylor, little contact with Smothers. He absorbs it and puts it in.
Yeah, like I said, it seems like it's going to be that kind of fourth quarter because that call was made earlier in this game, as was the Stevens defense on the couple possessions ago. If they're going to let them play more physically, that's something that both teams are just going to be aware of.
Tie game once again, 5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Corner 3 for Jared Jeffers. That one no good. Danny Abbas going in there for the rebound. And the foul is going to be called on the offense on Jaden Smothers. That's his first personal. He'll take a seat on the bench along with Jared Jeffers as DeMatha brings in a couple of subs. Jordan Stevens and Donovan Wright back on the floor for DeMatha.
And Smothers provided some good minutes there. He was playing excellent defense. I don't think he ever got on the scoreboard, but he definitely did his job helping keep St. John's offense down while he was out there, so shout out to him.
Here is Jaimin Vini. Gets a little help from Jordan Taylor. Again, puts it in the corner to Clark. And a little contact, a hip check by Jaden Schultz gets called.
Yeah, that's the right call. Schultz just got a little too aggressive trying to get out there and take away his path. Ends up bumping him. That's an easy call there. I'd like to see the Stags' point of attack defenders if Vini's handling the ball. He's been a little loose with his handle. There might be some opportunities if they decide to be aggressive to rip him and take it the other way.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Shouldn't it be on the sideline? That's where the foul took place. It shouldn't be on the baseline.
Well, St. John's has had a lot of success with the baseline plays, so they're maybe trying to put their thumb on the scale a little bit. But the refs ultimately got it right. That should be a side out.
That was Jaden Schultz's second personal of the day. That shot very short and then a late whistle. I think it's the right call, but a very late whistle. Didn't seem like the official was ready to make the call until Jordan Taylor looked to him and tapped his wrist.
Yeah.
Taylor's going to shoot too.
Sometimes it seems like the refs almost react to the result of the shot to kind of tell them, oh, the shooter put the ball that short. I doubt he actually missed it that badly. He probably was fouled.
Kind of risky to make calls that way when you're dealing with high school players, though, who are not, they're not necessarily consistent shooters across the board. You also don't know a lot about these players. When you're an NBA official, you can be like, well, I know LeBron wouldn't miss that one short. I'm going to call the foul.
No, I agree with that entirely. They should call it based off of what they see the players do, like to each other, not based off of the results of the play. But it is just sort of a nature of officials to do that at all levels.
1-for-2 trip there for Jordan Taylor makes it a 1-point game. Another half truth there for you, Eric.
I mean, that one was actually a foul. So
Schultz gives it to Meeks. Got his man to fly by him, but was not ready to shoot, so he's going to pass it off to Abbas. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Abbas driving in the lane too strong. Rebounded to Stevens. No reset on the shot clock, so they got to get it up. Meeks hangs in the air and drains it to put the Stags back in front.
Yeah, Meeks has been living in the air a lot. It's made me nervous on a couple of plays, but that time in total control, knew what he was going to do, and just a really impressive finish.
And another foul there as he was trying to toss that in somewhere to the interior.
Yeah, definitely some contact there. The ball was deflected, but you could hear a big slap on the arm there. So,
yeah, so that is Donovan Wright's second personal. And just like that, DeMatha now has 4 team fouls here in the fourth quarter. Not a great situation to be in where you're going to be putting the Cadets on the line.
Yeah, and sort of a reversal of the trend that we've seen throughout the first 3 quarters where St. John's were the ones committing the high level of fouls.
Deep 3 there. I think Jeffers must have gotten a hand on that one. That one went straight up. So Stags still a 1-point lead. Meeks driving in. He takes it all the way, and it rolls out, and it's rebounded to St. John's. Schultz wanted to go in there and wrestle for it.
Please don't commit a Jamie Dixon foul on that play because they would be going to the free throw line.
Yeah, don't even be doing that from all the way on the other baseline. Vini with the ball, guarded by Schultz. He's going to take the 3, high off the back iron. And then Abbas has to save it. Probably should have been a foul on St. John's.
I guess
and instead Abbas was in a situation where he had to just toss it in. And it's taken away by Taylor, and he jams it through.
I guess all the fussing from St. John's sideline has paid off because that was obviously a foul. It's been a foul this quarter. It's been a foul all quarter. It's been a foul since basketball was invented. I have no idea how they didn't call that. Ridiculous miss by the officials, and it gives St. John's the lead.
And that'll put Jordan Taylor up to 11 points on the day, all of it coming here in the second half. And we got a timeout here. We're going to take a quick moment to let you know that the Black Student Union invites you to unwind, create, and vibe at the BSU Sip and Paint on Friday, February 13th from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy an evening of art, music, and community as you paint, sip, and connect with friends in a relaxed atmosphere. Whether you're an experienced artist or just looking to try something new, this is an event you don't want to miss. BSU Sip and Paint, Friday, February 13th, 6 to 9 p.m. Come from the art, stay for the vibe. All right, coming out of that timeout, it is Stags basketball. They trail by 1. Meeks with the ball. Under 3 to play here in the fourth quarter. Gives it off to Donovan Wright, guarded by Jeremy Clark. Wright, little step back, got a little bit of space, and then Clark flies in, and he's going to be called for his 4th personal foul. 2nd team foul, and Donovan Wright will shoot 2.
Yeah, probably not a necessary foul there. Wright didn't look like he really had his setup that he wanted on that pull-up jump shot, but still going to the free throw line with an opportunity to tie the game up.
And hopefully take the lead as well, but take it one at a time here. Donovan Wright had a 3-pointer back in the first quarter and has not scored since then as he misses the first free throw. He gets one more here with a chance to at least tie it up. And he does do that at least. It is a 43-43 ball game. Inbound pass. Clark guarded by Schultz. Schultz on him right up past midcourt. He gives it off to Taylor, who's going to give it to Smith Bay, who, again, was such an integral part of St. John's offense in the first half, but has not gotten going here in the second. Clark, far from the rim, drives it all the way in, and a foul is called against Schultz, his third personal.
Another sort of late call there for the officials. Again, seemed like they blew the whistle. And they waited until Clark hit the court there instead of actually when any supposed contact was made. So Coach Jones not happy with the call. Tough to say from our angle whether or not there was any significant contact, but refs saw something, blew the whistle, and go on the free throw line again.
Clark good on the first free throw. Will he be the third player today to have a 2-for-2 trip to the charity stripe? Yes, he will.
Out of how many?
Out of a lot more than 3. 2-point St. John's lead. Just under 2 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, and we've got us another whistle. This one called against Zion Chase, and he is going to be fouled out of the game. His 5th foul and the 3rd personal.
Yeah, I was worried. I thought he had a good opportunity to make that steal, but I guess the officials determined that he sort of, hooked and held a little bit to get around Abbas to make that steal. So he's taking his seat for the rest of this evening, which not a whole lot of time left, but still a valuable piece for that team. He's been getting a lot of minutes. He's one of their starters. So.
And for all you know, the way it's been looking, we could be going to overtime here. We'll take a quick moment here to talk about all our upcoming broadcasts. We already discussed Tuesday's triple header against Paul VI here on DM Stags TV, but then we're back in action on Thursday against Archbishop Carroll, and then Monday, February 16th, we will host Bishop McNamara right here on DM Stags TV on YouTube. We'll also have a game on President's Day now, a reschedule from these snow days. So
do you guys get that off usually, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I know I get it off.
Yeah, I've got a possible trip planned that weekend, so I don't know yet if I'll be here for that game. We'll have to see. DeMatha inbounds to Danny Abbas. Meeks squares up. No good on that 3. Abbas went up too early and could not hold on to the ball as he came back down. And it's out of bounds off of the Stags.
Yeah, it's too bad. Again, Bass has been working real hard. Just a couple of bounces. Some things haven't really gone his way. He set the screen there. He got the rebound there. Just couldn't quite hold on to it. So big play for St. John's to get out of that without giving up any points.
DeMatha's got to be focused here on defense. A little screen, getting into the corner. Smith Bay comes back out. And here's Smith Bay for 3. No good. Rebounded to Taylor, and Smith Bay comes in, and he'll finish at the rim. It's a 4-point game now. 1:15 to play. Meeks drives around. Blocked, but Schultz is there to clean it up. And now Ace Meeks a little shaken up on the floor.
He was unhappy on that drive to the hoop that he didn't get a foul call. Hard to see what happened to him. He's in some pain, but.
Yeah, coaches are waving the players back to the bench as Wendy Norris, DeMatha's longtime trainer, tends to Ace. May have just taken an elbow or something to the midsection.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Hopefully just got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, just give him a second to breathe, and hopefully he'll be okay. We got 1:06 to play here in the fourth quarter, and DeMatha definitely needs Meeks on the floor, down by 2. It's been a dogfight here. It was a 6-point halftime lead for St. John's. They got it up to as many as 8 points in this third quarter before DeMatha started whittling it down and trailed by just 1 as we entered the fourth. DeMatha has held a 2-point lead here in the fourth. That was the first lead of the game, since being up 3-1 very early in the first quarter.
With 1:06 left, stop and score is pretty much going to be the modus operandi if they want to tie this game up.
So it's a full 60-second timeout. St. John's already back on the floor, ready to go. And Ace Meeks does stay on the floor. He has not left the game at any point this afternoon. Doing everything he can to will the Stags to victory. He's got 21 on the day.
Full-court pressure for the Stags. First time we've seen this heavy a pressure.
Yep, and in some trouble. And St. John's able to advance it past half court. DeMatha still with the press defense. And St. John's is going to be forced to call a timeout here.
Yeah, some very, very close to forcing a turnover in the backcourt for DeMatha. St. John's kind of lucky that they were able to get that ball into the front court. Probably happy to reset and try to run a play, because a bucket here for them all but puts the game away.
Yep, Kareem Smith-Bay with that bucket to put the Cadets up by 2 a few moments ago. That was his first bucket of the second half. He had 12 points back in the first half. Finally got back on the board here in the fourth quarter in a big moment for his team, as St. John's tries to close this game out and DeMatha tries to pull off the come-from-behind victory.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened on that last layup from Smith-Bay. He missed the 3, and then it seemed like 4 Cadets were there to rebound, and I didn't see any Stags in sight. Like, they were all there to rebound, and then Smith-Bay was able to cut to the basket unimpeded for the layup. Just a little bit of a breakdown there on crashing the boards.
So 52.7 here. Nice job, Jordan Gill. Got it down to the decimal point on our graphic. No, that is not directly connected to our scoreboard here in the building. That is all Mr. Gill on the 1s and 2s. And another timeout for St. John's. This one a full timeout with just 4 seconds on the shot clock. So 2 timeouts burned. I believe those may have been the last 2 timeouts that St. John's had in their pocket on this one possession. So some confusion for the Cadets, and DeMatha is going to need to try and capitalize on that.
Yeah, we'll see if this timeout bears fruit, obviously, but a little reckless to call 2 in 1 possession. I mean, if DeMatha is able to get this stop with 4 seconds on the shot clock, it favors the defense, and they get a bucket, St. John's will wish they had that timeout in their pocket to try to get a game-winning bucket at the end of regulation. So to burn 2, I mean, they better come up with something good for this 4-second situation, because clearly they didn't have it when there was 20 seconds on the shot clock.
So we will remind you that we'll be back in action on Tuesday here on DM Stags TV as the Stags take on the Panthers from Paul VI Catholic. That's going to be a big one. And 4 o'clock, 5:45, and 7:30 the tip-offs for freshmen, JV, and varsity respectively. Don't want to miss that one. I'll be Neal Murphy back on the air with me for the varsity game. And we may have some students to call the freshmen and JV. We're still working on that. Still a lot of things up in the air. All of you who are part of the DeMatha family, current students and parents in particular, you got to make sure you're keeping an eye out for any communication from the school as we wait for PG County's decision on whether it'll be another snow day tomorrow. If it is, we will have synchronous online learning. I know PG County is hoping to at least be on a 2-hour delayed opening. We'll have to see what happens there, as that shot wide of the mark and a shot clock violation for St. John's. DeMatha will have the ball, 4.5 seconds separating the shot clock and the game clock. So DeMatha can hold this and really force St. John's into a tough situation, but DeMatha also has to score. They're down by 2. So you can't just bank on assuming that you're going to make the last shot. It's going to be very interesting to see how DeMatha chooses to play this. I imagine Coach Jones was talking about that in the huddle with how close we were to the end of the shot clock for St. John's. I'm sure they had to be talking about what they were going to do once they got that stop. Ace Meeks has the ball. He's going to drive in. And that one stolen away, but not before a foul is called on Tariq Boney.
Yeah, Coach Jones seems a little displeased with a little bit of a reckless attack from Meeks, but the foul call sort of saves the day there. Unfortunately, the Stags are not in the bonus, but it might be fortunate because DeMatha's not making their free throws anyway. So
right.
You might just want to try to get a legit bucket here.
4 team fouls now for St. John's, so the next foul would put the Stags in the bonus. Danny Abbas gets that one. Creates just a little bit of space, gives it to Meeks, who's going to drive in. Meeks off the glass, and he draws the foul. He tells everybody, calm down, I still got to make this.
That was about as impressive of a bucket as you will see. Wrong-legged, offhand, right-handed shot coming from the left side off the glass with the contact. Just an unbelievable bucket from Meeks to tie this game.
So that foul also charged to Tariq Boney, his 4th personal. 5 team fouls against St. John's, so both teams will be shooting free throws here on out if it comes to that. We got 21.6 to play in the 4th quarter, but first, Meeks with a chance to put the Stags in the lead. And he does.
All right. St. John's 21-6, no timeouts. Remember, they burned the 2 on the previous possession. We'll see if that comes back to haunt them.
Meeks, one guy who has done very well at the free throw line this year for the Stags. He's 4 for 5 today. Clark gives it off. Here's Smith Bay, who dishes it, but it's waved off. It's an offensive foul. What a job by Jordan Stevens to stand in there and take the charge.
And Kareem Smith Bay will take a seat. That's his 5th foul. Understandably frustrated as he made his way to the bench, but it was the right call. Fantastic defense. Again, DeMatha has been excellent at standing in and drawing these charges all game, and it might have given them an opportunity to win this one. Still got 8.8 seconds, so they got to protect the ball, but excellent situation for DeMatha to be in, especially after trailing pretty much the entire game.
And St. John's trying to quickly huddle up here and game plan. You know DeMatha wants to get the ball in Ace Meeks' hands. He is their best free throw shooter, and St. John's is going to have to foul off this inbound if DeMatha can get the ball inbounds cleanly. So that's the first priority. You got to get it into one of your players' hands cleanly. Second priority, make that player be Ace Meeks so that you're sending him to the free throw line in this critical situation. Take a quick moment here, just very quickly. Actually, no, we are ready. Donovan Wright handling the inbound duties for DeMatha, and they got it to Meeks. It's poked away and out of bounds. It'll stay with DeMatha. Very fortunate there. That's a position where really if you're Ace, you just want to take it and hold it. It's less than 10 seconds. You don't have to advance the ball, make them foul you.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's no backcourt violation possibility here. But it does kind of work out in DeMatha's favor because that did take 2 seconds off the clock when they knocked it out. So DeMatha's able to peel almost half the time off the clock instead of just a little bit. Now the key is Meeks got to knock down these free throws.
First free throw is good, despite somebody in the stands trying to influence it.
Gotta love a dedicated fan.
Oh yeah,
I mean that was and still is us when we go to sports games.
Absolutely,
So,
I'm not complaining. I'm not criticizing at all.
I respect it.
Yeah. Meeks makes both of them. It is a 3-point game with 4.7 to go. St. John's gonna throw it up. Off the backboard, no good. And DeMatha will escape. After being down by 6 at the end of the first half, they will win by 3 against St. John's, handing the Cadets just their 6th loss of the year, their 2nd loss in conference, and moving DeMatha to 6-1 in conference play. What a win.
Yeah, DeMatha adapted to the physical play of St. John's. Ace Meeks was the best player on the floor as expected, and that was the difference. He took over the game late, made the game-winning bucket, clutched up and hit the big free throws, and DeMatha gets out of here with a huge win against St. John's.
Give a quick shout-out to my wife, Rashonda, and to our daughter, Riley, who should have just woken up from her nap in time to catch the end of that crazy game here. DeMatha 3-point victors against St. John's here at home, and we'll be back on Tuesday evening to face Paul VI. Hopefully this momentum will carry through, but until then, for all of us here on DM Stags TV, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cory Puffett with Eric Meyer and Jordan Gill behind the scenes. We'll see you next time.
A DeMatha student is a man with pride in himself as a gentleman, a scholar, and a member of the community.
He not only represents himself and his family, but also his fellow classmates, his teachers, his coaches, the alumni, and the Trinitarian Order.
As our school grows and prospers, he will be entrusted with carrying forward the tradition of excellence that he has inherited.
He shall be a leader whose commitment and discipline will show him to be a man of honor and integrity.
A DeMatha student sets goals for himself as a scholar, a teammate, a classmate, and a man.
To attain these goals, he bases his life on the principles of hard work, sacrifice, determination, service, and selflessness.
These ideals will help him achieve a level of excellence that will not be matched and that will earn him respect as an individual.
A DeMatha student is a man of action and a man of prayer who accepts readily the challenges of the world.
He takes responsibility for himself and others.
He always has his priorities in the proper order.
He respects those who have come before him, is devoted to those who are with him now, and is conscious of those who will follow him in the future.
He is courageous in the face of adversity.
He is humble before the presence of God.
He is steadfast in his service to others.
He's a faith-filled gentleman and a scholar.